คุณผู้ชมคะทุกวันนี้การใช้งานอินเทอร์เน็ตเปลี่ยนแปลงไปอย่างมากนะคะหลังจากที่อินเทอร์เน็ตเริ่มที่จะแพร่หลายใช้กันได้ทั่วโลกเมื่อ 26 ปีที่แล้วแต่ทุกวันนี้ประชากรโลกก็ยังเข้าไม่ถึงอินเทอร์เน็ตเกือบครึ่งโลกนะคะจากประชากรโลกกว่า 7,000 ล้านคนเข้าถึงอินเทอร์เน็ตกันเพียง 55% เท่านั้นและกำลังกลายเป็นภารกิจสำคัญของสมาคมอินเทอร์เน็ตหรืออินเทอร์เน็ตโซไซตี้ที่ต้องพยายามพัฒนาเพื่อให้คนทั่วโลกเข้าถึงอินเทอร์เน็ตให้ได้ดิฉันได้คุยกับประธานสมาคมอินเทอร์เน็ตในโอกาสมาเยือนไทยค่ะว่าต้องการที่จะเดินหน้าอย่างไรเพื่อให้บรรลุเป้าหมายค่ะ
Well, obviously the internet is very different than it was in 1992. One thing, of course, is that we carry the internet around with us. Back in the 1990s, we didn't have mobile internet. We didn't have the kind of environment that allowed you to look at apps or anything like that. The web, is another technology that was built on top of the internet, and it took off. And now we have all kinds of services built on top of the web that many people use. You have search engines like Google. We have social media of various descriptions, and these are all things that are living on top of the internet. This underlayer that keeps all of that working, and that development is to be expected. That's what the internet is designed to do, to give you the ability to build things on top of it.
So in the very beginning, we see the development of online of websites, and then we see news organization, e-commerce, and we see social network, probably in the past 10 years. But right now we see more evolution of blockchain, of the Internet of Things. So it must be quite natural, isn't it, that the things have turned to be more complicated and must be quite more difficult to regulate the Internet.
It is difficult to regulate. I think that the key thing is that many people try to do regulation of the internet things when they touch human lives. And this is a normal thing. Governments, of course, are concerned with human lives. But what's strange is that when the internet gets involved, people act as though it's a special kind of case. So sometimes, for instance, we see laws particularly about internet gambling as opposed to gambling generally. Or we see laws with respect to particular kinds of behavior that happen through the internet when those behaviors are already disallowed. What I worry about is that people will treat the technology as the important part rather than the behavior. The behavior is what we're trying to modify, not the technology.
What's the ultimate goal of the internet society?
We think the internet is for everyone, and when we say that, we mean it. Every person on earth needs to have the ability to choose to connect themselves. That doesn't mean everybody has to be connected. Some people won't want to, and I don't want to make them. I just want to make this tool available to everyone.
The issue of security seems the very main issue that the government tend to give as the reason that they really have to control the internet, the flow of information. What would be the argument of the internet society in order to explain to the government on the issue of security?
Security is a big topic, and one of the key things that we have to remember is that when you're talking about security, it's always involving some kind of trade-off. You could be completely secure by locking yourself in a room and never going out and never having any interaction. And I don't know how you would get food, but anyway, that would be sort of complete security. But of course, that's no fun. It's not a good way to live. You wouldn't want to live that way. And so what you do is you trade. You decide, okay, well, I'll take this risk. I will walk down the street. And in some places, that is, scarier than other places. What we cannot have is absolute security online, because if we want absolute security online, we will turn it off. That's not a good trade. What we have to do is decide what things are valuable to us, and then how we can manage the particular use of the technology in particular ways.
Policy of China is to have sovereignty of the internet. How do you read this phenomena? And perhaps, probably, governments in many countries are trying to pursue the same path.
So we should be clear, first of all, that China is a special case. They have a very, very large population. And so they have an ability that nobody else does. Because their domestic population is so big, and because it's got a single language that is pretty pervasive throughout the country, and a culture that is tightly integrated. They have an opportunity to make a single rule, but most countries do not have that population. Even other very large populations, for instance, India, they have a very large population, but it's heterogeneous, right? There are a lot of different cultures there, many different languages, and so on. So they're really submarkets. It's very important to recognize that that's a fundamental difference between the China case and everybody else. When China or any other country decides that they're going to build a border around their network, what they do is they reduce the value of that network because you can't make new connections. You have to get permission before you can build a new thing. What's marvelous about the internet is that it's really a tool for building, it's building blocks, right, to build other things, to build other kinds of services. And if you try to control that, you get the advantages that come from control, and they are advantages, but you lose the advantages that come from the creativity of people inventing new things and connecting. And that creativity creates opportunities as well, right? It creates opportunities for the society, for the development, for the economic development of the culture and so on.